Hello. Today I'll be walking you through developing your first DocumentCloud add-on. First, we'll need to sign up for a GitHub account. It'll ask us for our email. It'll ask us for a password. It'll ask us for a username. And it'll ask us if we want to sign up for updates and announcements via email. In my case, I don't want that. Then it'll ask us to solve a puzzle. And then I can click on the Create Account button. It'll email us a launch code. So I'll hop into my email. It'll ask us a few more details. This one's just for me. Then it'll ask us if we want a free or a pro account. In my case, I just want a free account. It'll begin initializing our dashboard, and then we're logged into GitHub. From there, we want to hop over to github.com/muckrock, where we can see all the open source code that makes Muckrock a great place. We scroll down, there's a search bar, and if we type in hello, we click on DocumentCloud Hello World add-on. That is a template for all DocumentCloud add-ons that you can use. From there, we click on use this template. Then we create a new repository. Give your repository a meaningful name. In this case, I'm just developing a test add-on, so maybe I'll name it test add-on. Do know that this is not the name of the add-on when you run it within DocumentCloud. It's just a repository name. Give it a description. From there, you can decide to make your add-on public or private. If you decide that you want to include your add-on in the public library of add-ons on DocumentCloud.org, you'll want to make your repository public. Do know that if you make it public, any error logs or print messages will be public. I'll show you a little bit more about that later. Otherwise, if you want to just test your add-on locally or run it on your own, or just for your DocumentCloud account or for others in your organization, make the repository private. In my case, I'm not too worried about this, so I'm making it public. It will generate some files for me. And from there, you'll see multiple different files auto-generated for you. The first one I want to focus on is README.md. Hop in there. Within GitHub, we can edit a document by clicking on the pencil icon. And then I can change the description here. I do recommend keeping the first two lines, as this is linking to the documentation for the DocumentCloud Add-On class. So if other developers want to fork your code in the future or understand how your code works, they'll be able to be directed right to our wiki. In this case, I'm going to change the name of this to a test add-on. And then when I scroll down, it'll ask me to write a commit message. Here you'll want to make a meaningful description anytime that you do a commit change, because when you go back in your commit history, you'll be able to see where exactly code changes were made and what changes were made, and have a descriptive title for it. Otherwise, you'll have to dive in to each commit and see what the difference in changing of files were. Giving it a descriptive name is always best practiced. You can also give it an extended description. And in this case, because I'm not working with branches, I'll just commit directly to the main branch. If you do want to create a new branch, let's say you have a branch that you're developing on, and then you merge functions in a progressive manner, you could create a new branch for develop or testing or some other mechanism, and then you can do a pull request to merge it into main later. As you'll see, the changes are reflected in the README file. The second important thing to developing your first DocumentCloud add-on is downloading the DocumentCloud GitHub app. If you click on the URL for the add-on documentation, it'll direct you to our wiki. On the right-hand bar, you'll see Run Your Add-On in DocumentCloud. If you hop to that section, it'll first prompt you to install the GitHub DocumentCloud app. Go ahead and click there. Go ahead and hit install. This is really important. You'll only want to allow the DocumentCloud Add-On app to have access to your select repositories, in this case, the add-on that you're developing. You can add more add-ons in the future by reconfiguring the app. Do not select all repositories, as it will have read access to all your repositories, and we'll have access to them as well. Go ahead and hit install and authorize. Now that we've installed the DocumentCloud GitHub app, we can go back to github.com, click on our image, click on your repositories, and click on our add-ons repository. From there, you'll see the auto-generated files again. We already talked about README. Now I'll dive into config.yaml. Config.yaml is where we go ahead and set the user interface for our app. Click the pencil icon to edit. I can change the name of the add-on as it appears in DocumentCloud here. In this case, I'll name it Test Add-On. I can edit the description. You'll want to keep the type object field the same. If you scroll down, Documents is where we can set whether or not we want the add-on to run only on queried documents, meaning documents that appear in our current search query, only selected documents, meaning documents that we have to manually select with the check mark next to it on DocumentCloud's user interface. This has a limit of 25 documents. Whether or not we want the user to decide, it can be query documents or selected, or in the case of some add-ons, neither, in which case we would provide it with an open bracket and a closed bracket. Properties are the fields present to the user when they run your add-on. In this case, there will be a field titled name that is expecting a string. I'm going to go ahead and change this to username, and it will still expect a string. Note that we'll want to go ahead and make a commit message. And I can go ahead and commit directly to main or to a new branch. Since I've already set up the DocumentCloud GitHub app, this will auto-generate, and if I hop into DocumentCloud, click on Add-ons, browse all add-ons, and then type in test, it'll show the test add-on. It's currently inactive, and it shows my GitHub username here, and links to the repo. If I click active, it'll activate the add-on, and I can run it from the add-ons menu. Test add-on. And you'll see that the field name was changed to username, the description was changed, and the name of the add-on was changed as well. And you'll see that query allows me to run the document on 29,393 documents. Or if I just selected one document, clicked on the add-on, it gives me the choice of running it only on the currently selected document or on the queried, all the queried documents. Do note that if you have a large set of documents, like over 1,000, it might be quite processing intensive, or it might take more time. I'll show you a little bit later on how to add more time to your add-on. The default timeout is 5 minutes. Now that we went ahead and set up our user interface, if we go back to the repo, you'll see 2 more files besides the example config YAML. We'll click on main.py. This is where the main functionality of our add-on goes. You can import your favorite Python libraries at the top, whether it be internal to Python or external libraries. And then you'll see the Hello World class. You can change the class name. It will still inherit from add-on. And within main, you set most of your raw functionality for the add-on. Do note, there are a few different aspects of this Hello World add-on that we can talk about. If you want to set a message for your user to see when you run the add-on, you can use self.setMessage. If you want to iterate through documents, whether selected or query documents, you can do for_document and self.getDocuments. If you wanted to create an annotation on a particular document, you could use document.annotations.create. That's available in the Python wrapper API documentation as well. And then, of course, if you wanted to send an email to your user after the add-on is done running, you can do self.sendMail, and that will send an email to the user once the add-on is done running. Something neat about DocumentCloud Add-ons is you can view the source code for add-ons that you're running as well. So if I click on Internet Archive Export Tool, and I click on View Source, I'm able to pull up the GitHub repo. It'll show me the description for that add-on. I can go in and look at how the code works. Do note in this add-on that I use an external library called Internet Archive. If you do use external libraries, like this add-on uses the Internet Archive, you do want to include it in your requirements.txt file as well. You'll see that I've mentioned Internet Archive in the requirements.txt. That makes sure that that particular library is installed by pip before your add-on is run. Otherwise, you'll get an error. Some other things to note about this particular add-on. If you did want to access a field from your config.yaml file, let's say a user provided a field that you wanted to be able to access from within your Python file, you can do that by running self.data and then calling that particular key name. In this case, item name. If I go back and go to config.yaml, you'll see that I have a property named item name. and that it expects a string. If you wanted a particular field within your user interface to be required in order for your add-on to run properly, you can list it in the YAML file as required. Do also know that the order of elements within the config.yaml file is not necessarily helpful. For example, I could change the config.yaml file to move the properties underneath documents or the documents above the properties, and it would all work the same. Now, I did mention earlier that the default timeout for DocumentCloud Add-ons is 5 minutes. Well, how would we go about changing that? For that, we would need it to edit our GitHub workflow. You'll see a folder in your add-on that is GitHub/workflows. If I click on that, and then I click on the run-addon YAML file, and I scroll down, you'll be able to see that I added the field width and then explicitly listed a new timeout, in this case 60 minutes. The max timeout for GitHub Actions is 360 minutes, basically 6 hours. One other thing that you might want to change within your workflow file is the ability to access secrets. If you wanted to create a secret, you go to Settings, scroll down, click Secrets, hit Actions, and this is where you can create a new repository secret. This will allow you to give a name for your secret, and then the actual value. I'm just creating a junk secret. This will generate the secret. And then this is accessible from within your workflow file, and then from there within main.py. I'll show you an example. In this DocumentCloud Add-On app, the Internet Archive Export add-on, we click on Workflows, and then run-addon YAML. This is how you declare a secret within the workflow file. DocumentCloud Add-ons have 2 inheritable secrets, token and key. You can use one, both, or neither. In this case, I used both. One for the username for the Internet Archive, and one for the password. From there, once we've declared it using these braces, we go back into our main repository and then go into main.py. To access it from within your program, you'll want to import OS, as it is an OS environment variable. From there, you declare a variable and then use os.environ followed by the name, either token or key, of the secret and assign it to that variable. In this case, I have the Internet Archive username stored in token, so I access token, and the Internet Archive password in key, so I access key. Remember, it's important to import OS to be able to access os.environ. Finally, let's say we've edited our workflow for run-addon. We've edited our README file. We've set up our user interface using config.yaml. We've declared the external libraries that we'll need to install when the add-on is run in requirements.txt. And we've set up our main functionality of our add-on in main.py. And we're ready to test our add-on for the first time. Since we've installed the DocumentCloud GitHub app in a prior section of this video, we can go ahead and actually run the add-on from within DocumentCloud. I can click on Test Add-on, type in a username, and then click Dispatch. What Dispatch does from the user interface side is it goes ahead and triggers a GitHub action run. The add-on will be in the queue stage first, and then it will be in progress, and then it will either succeed or fail. If we go back to our repository and click on Actions, you can actually see each workflow run. In this case, it's running the add-on. If I click on it, and then click once more, I can see at which stage the add-on is currently at. And we can see that the add-on completed and that it succeeded. And if we head back into DocumentCloud, you'll see that the add-on did indeed succeed. It presented a message to the user and prompted me to download a file. If I open the file, it says "Hello World." I can leave feedback for our add-on. In this case, it succeeded, so I'm giving it a thumbs up. And I present feedback. If you did want to test your add-on locally without connecting to DocumentCloud GitHub app, you could test your add-on using the command line interface, and that is described in the Hello World DocumentCloud wiki. It tells you that you'll need to pass in your username and password to DocumentCloud, or store that as environment variables as DC username and DC password. You can pass in a list of document IDs using -- documents, or a search query with -- query and then a string, and then any fields present in your add-on using data with the data in actual braces. What if my add-on failed? Well, if I click on Actions, scroll down to the failed add-on run, click once more, it'll show me a detailed log of what the error was, which is helpful for debugging. Do know, as I mentioned earlier, it shows verbose logs. So if there is something in particular in your logs that is sensitive, such as a document name, you might want to suppress errors or have better error handling so that it doesn't appear in the GitHub Actions log, or you might want to make your repository private. Lastly, I want to direct you to the DocumentCloud Add-On documentation, which covers most of what we've covered in this video, as well as a lot more. It talks and breaks down each individual file in more detail. It also talks about setting the GitHub DocumentCloud app, talks about permissions and security, more about document selection, and also offers a full parameter reference